That's what Fran is talking about when she talks about, not just the integrity, because people have integrity. What they don't understand is part of integrity is the courage to stand by your convictions and go against the union. Because this union leadership in Central Falls, by the way, we're applying for something called Race to the Top. The federal government put $4 billion out to states on a competitive grant basis. We're applying, 40 states are applying. There's the potential for us to get $125 million into Rhode Island to reform our schools and help teachers, prepare the teachers better, a whole series of things. It didn't need, but we were hopeful we could get the unions to agree to be a part of that. The Providence AFT did. But Fran's union leadership in Central Falls, going through what she's going through, all the things she's been trying to do, and making progress, by the way, said no. They don't even want to be a part of an opportunity to get $125 million for our state to improve their schools. That's when I first ran. I don't know how to drive this point, because this is such an important point. And by the way, Fran, myself, Sewell, many of you, we're a different generation. Many of you are probably not aware, President Kennedy actually signed into law the law that allowed state municipal workers, including teachers, to organize in 1962 or 63. Then states had to act. Our legislature passed legislation in 1966 to allow teachers and state workers and municipal workers to unionize. John Chafee was governor at the time, vetoed that. Vetoed it. Convinced that unionizing state and municipal workers, including teachers, was a disaster, a formula for disaster. Because why? This is public service. This is a monopoly. There's no competitiveness out there. He vetoed it. Guess what? Another good Republican. Okay. He got overrode. But that started in 1966, is my point. My father, rest his soul, he retired in 1982 from teaching after 38 years. And so he had to live with part of that, unionization. Absolutely hated it. Now why? And it wasn't as bad then because it was just happening. One last story. This is important that you understand. Because when I ran the first time, knowing what I said, I grew up with teachers, love teachers. A lot of good friends that are teachers. One of our good friends, we were talking about, things that we need to do and what was going on in the schools. And this woman had been a teacher in the East Greenwich schools for, in her case at that time, 25 or 30 years. She's since retired. Taught our kids. And we were talking about this issue, and I'm saying, we just gotta, sit down and talk about what we need to do to get the schools performing better and the issues. And she said, Don, you don't understand. You've been out of this world. And so, what do you mean? She said, well, let me give you an example of how it is. Now, this is a teacher we would rate on any scale as one of the best. I can attest to that, one of the best. She said, let me give you an example. She said, a few weeks ago, I was talking to one of the younger teachers, to date her, and they were just talking, and she was talking about, I got some parents coming in after school, sit down and talk about what's going on with their youngster, and et cetera, et cetera. So this younger teacher, now keep in mind, the one I'm talking about, been teaching at that point 25, almost 30 years. The younger teacher's been teaching 5. Looks at her and says, you can't do that. what are you doing? And my friend says, what do you mean? I can't do that. The younger teacher says, look at the contract. Look at the contract. It's a true story. And my friend, who's older, maturer, wiser, said, no, you look at the contract. What the contract says is I don't have to do this. She said, I choose to do it. I choose to do it. Now, that's what Fran is talking about. That's the kind of integrity, the kind of courage that is out there. That is out there. But not being displayed. Because too many are cowed by their union leadership. Because they know they're going to pay a price. Now, I don't know about you, but I was taught, by my father, my mother. Sue was taught by her father, her mother. We're both, she's the oldest of 4, I'm the oldest of 5. Both of us the only ones in our families who went to college. My dad was of a generation, the only one in his family went to college. But we were taught that what's important in life at the end of the day is your principles, your values, and your integrity, and your willingness to stand up and be counted on something you feel strongly and passionately about. So, Fran, know that not just this group. When I called Fran last week, I said, I know it's hot, I know it's heavy, you're doing the right thing. After she thanked me, she said, Governor, I know that. She said, the calls are coming in 60-1. 60-1 in support. And the sad thing, and I'll finish on this because I don't want to belabor it, but it is an extraordinarily important point. The sad thing is that the teachers' unions are making the teachers themselves look terrible. That's the sad thing, okay? Because the vast, vast majority of people that go into teaching go into it because they love children. They want those children to prosper. They want those children to get the skills that they need. Yes, like in any profession, there are some that shouldn't be there, that don't know how to do it, and are unwilling to do the things. And it's like in anything else in life, you need to weed them out. And unfortunately, the union wants to protect them. But the vast majority, and that's the sad thing in this whole case, and you can see the emotion in Fran when she talks about it. Because she knows how these teachers feel. And she knows how they were hung out. But she's doing absolutely the right thing because, by the way, it's not just Central Falls. This is going on in several districts in our state. There were several identified, and it's going on across the country. It's going on across the country. So the unions better wake up and decide they're going to help to be a part of the solution rather than being the problem and creating the turmoil. And they better do it, or else, frankly, they're going to cease. I mean that. They will. Now, what do we need to do? I've been at this 7 years, and I've been to every RISC meeting. Because I feel so strongly, and I say it every time, and I'll say it again today, you are the hope. You are the hope. Because I just spent all that time talking about the teachers, union, and the union leadership. Same thing's true with the public sector broadly. There has been no counterbalance to that. As Jeff said, they know how to play the game well. I admire people that play a game well. They figured it out a long time ago. That they got a monopoly. We all pay the taxes that pay the dues, okay, that the employees pay to them. So it's our money, by the way, that's funding all of this, and it's funding the commercials they're running against Fran. They figured it out. And they figured out if they take that money and get candidates and finance candidates, they will control the legislative process.